Hi, I'm April. I am a singer-songwriter and music teacher, and today we're going to be talking about how to write a song on the piano. In this video, we're going to be talking about chord progressions, incorporating piano melodies, and incorporating other instruments. So let's get started. One of the easiest places to start when you're writing a song on the piano is with chord progressions. Here are a few really popular chord progressions that you can get started with, or you can just look at the chords in a given key and just make up your own chord progression. If you want some slightly more interesting harmony, you can also incorporate chords from other keys. For instance, if you were going to take this chord progression, you could replace the major 4 with a minor 4. Or if you wanted to use this one, you could use a D major instead of a D minor. When you start writing a melody, you can start by using the notes that are in the chord you're already playing. From there, branch out to other notes in the key using steps, skips, and jumps. Step, skip, jump. In my opinion, the key to writing a great melody is with variety. If your melody happens to be too similar during each of the different parts, your listener's going to get bored. So if your verses are using entirely stepwise motion, make sure that you change that up for the next section. Just mix things up as you go and your listener is way less likely to get bored. This is a great way to get started if you're writing a piano-only composition, or if you're just trying to lay down a more complex or atmospheric sound underneath your melodic instrument. Improvisation is the act of making something up as you go. So obviously, like, key mashing isn't going to sound great, but what I'd recommend is starting with a scale that you already know really well. If the word scale is making you want to run away from this video, come back. All you have to do is stick with the white keys and start and end on C, or if you want a darker sound, start and end on A. I'm a big fan of playing the 1 and the 5 in the bass with my left hand, or together like that, and then moving around with my other hand and just kind of making stuff up. Once you feel like you've gotten pretty used to just making stuff up in your right hand, you can start actually moving your left hand around too. So instead of just having to play 1 and 5, you can maybe move to a different chord. You can even incorporate chord progressions. If you feel like it's too difficult to write with 2 hands at once, that's totally cool too. You can just use GarageBand or a similar program to be able to record one part and then record something else over top of it. In general, when you're improvising, I really recommend turning your voice memos on or recording yourself in GarageBand, just so that you don't lose any of those awesome ideas that you come up with. So I have lots of videos in which I talk about incorporating lyrics, so I'm just going to put one of those right up here. And in the meantime, let's just talk about a couple of little things that you can be thinking about. The first is that you should think about what the piano part makes you feel. So if you're writing lyrics over top of this beautiful piano part, just be thinking about what emotions it stirs in you, and then use that to base your lyrics off of. Bonus points if you can come up with an actual story. So think back into your memory and imagine a time that made you feel the way that you feel right now when you're listening to it, and then tell that story. The second tip is not to just think about what the words mean, but to think about what they sound like. Be focused on consonants and vowels, and be thinking about where the stresses in the words are. One of my favorite exercises is just saying the sentence, "I did not steal her red purse," but emphasizing each word a different time. So for instance, "I did not steal her red purse" implies that somebody else did, whereas "I did not steal her red purse" implies that maybe I stole her blue one. So when you're incorporating that idea into lyric writing, make sure that your lyrics sound like dialogue. If they are dialogue, make sure that you're writing in a way that sounds like you would speak. But also get rid of any of those little tiny words that you don't necessarily need, like really or very, for instance. And try to make the most important words fall on downbeats. Lastly, notice any spots where the words can influence what's happening in the music. If you sing the word stop, it might be a really good place for a stop time. Or if your lyric happens to be, "It goes like this, the 4th, the 5th, you might want to play, "It goes like this, the 4th, the 5th. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, let me know in the comments, and feel free to subscribe and ring the little bell to be notified the next time I post.